Shalom to each one of you, wherever in the world you are. We happen to be in Montana for a few days of vacation, exploring the wonders of Hashem's creation in Yellowstone National Park, and trying to integrate and make sense and meaning of what has happened over the last couple of weeks. I said to you in the last clip that I would explain why the miracles that happen need us to go through loss as well. If Hashem is doing such incredible nisim, why did they have to entail destruction and loss and sacrifice? And in the same Malbim that I quoted to you in the previous clip, the Malbim says that just as when the Jews came out of Egypt, they had to fight wars, they had to do natural things, although they were surrounded by miracles all the time. If Hashem could bring man for them to eat and magical water for them to drink, could Hashem not keep the Amalekites away and avoid all the battles that had to be fought later on with the 7 nations? And the Malbim explains, if Hashem had wanted them to wait until the right time for the Geula, then it would have been entirely miraculous. But for it to be accelerated, for it to happen before its time, there has to be a partnership between the miracles of Hashem and the efforts of humankind. And the same applies here too. If we want to wait for Mashiach to come, then we could wait, and ultimately Mashiach will come miraculously without any loss of Jewish life. But Hashem wants that to happen faster than the allotted time. And if it's going to happen faster, if there's going to be an acceleration, we need to be partners in those miracles. And we need to engage in all the natural forms of warfare that are needed for conquest. And in that process, it is natural that there will be loss. What isn't natural is how little loss there was. And of course, every human soul and every Jewish soul that is lost is a tragedy of enormous proportions. And we've suffered such loss and such tragedy. We've suffered physical loss of people. We've suffered people's emotional hardship. We've suffered economic hardship. We still have our hostages in Gaza. There's been enormous hardship, and that is the sacrifice, the korban, the price we've had to pay for the acceleration of the coming of Mashiach, which hopefully will be b'mhera v'yameinu very soon. And for these miracles to take place, we've had to do our share, and part of our share is willing to pay the price of fighting the battles, which we've done so brilliantly. The existential threat from Iran and its proxies has been removed, at least for the meantime, and for that we are in such debts of gratitude to all who have made that possible, from the Air Force and the Army, the support services, Hatzalah and Mada and Zaka, all the non-profit organizations, all the individuals that have helped. So many people have made it possible, and we owe them such a debt of gratitude, and future generations too will owe them that debt of gratitude. But it's not just for what they did physically. It's also for the way that they put their lives at risk for Klal Yisrael, for the people who did enormous chesed and tzedakah. They gave us the zchut, they gave us the merit to be able to deserve the miracles that Hashem gave us. The Jewish people are not perfect. There's a lot that's been going on in our nation that isn't okay. Each one of us could be a lot better than we are. Do we really deserve the miracles that Hashem showed us over this time, starting with October the 7th and continuing, and we're still in the midst of it. The story is not yet concluded. We don't deserve it as individuals or even as a nation, other than the sacrifices of our Kedoshim, those who've given their lives, the sacrifices of our army, our defense force, in their willingness to give their lives, and all the other sacrifices that people have made in matters of chesed and kindness, and the people who've been studying Torah and davening. They too have added to this chut, to this basket of merit that made the miracles possible. And our thanks, I talk from my own heart, my thanks and the thanks of my family and of our communities and all of us, our thanks to each one of you who've added to the basket of merits through your tefillot, through your tehillim, through your acts of kindness, through your tzedakah, through your sacrifices, through your military service, through your learning of Torah. Each one of you, in the ways that you've done it, you've added to the basket of merit that justified the miracles that have just happened. But we face a new threat. We face a different threat, not an existential threat in the normal sense of the word. We face two threats: the threat of complacency and the threat of forgetfulness. The complacency is that we begin to accept the supernatural as if it were natural, and not realizing the miracle, allowing the miracles to dim in our rearview mirrors as we race forward in our new challenges and pursuits of accomplishment. That's the one threat. And the other threat is forgetting the Kedoshim, not remembering those who did give their lives, and having them top of mind as we move forward. The miracle is not what happened. The miracle is what could have happened and didn't. Just as I've said in a recent Matmonim shir, that refraining from doing wrong, keeping a negative mitzvah, a lo ta'aseh, is in many ways greater than a mitzvah ta'aseh, the mitzvah of doing. So here too, the miracles that happened were great, but the greatest miracles of all are the miracles of what could have happened and didn't. The number of losses that the army was preparing for, and that the health services were preparing for, the number of tragedies, the number of planes which were expected to be lost in the campaign against Iran, and were not lost. So many things that could have gone wrong and didn't go wrong. That's the miracle. And that's the kind of miracle lens we need to live with. When we fly in an aircraft, we just take it for granted. Just think of how many things could go wrong and didn't. Our physical health, how many things could go wrong with our bodies every moment of every day and don't. These are the miracles. And what's important is that we preserve the miracle of what has just happened going forward, and we take that miracle forward. There's been a debate about how to celebrate these miracles. Do we say Hallel? Do we say the brachot of Shechiyanu and Atov HaMeitiv? But the real way to celebrate and to give thanks for these miracles, two methods. The one is Tehillim. Tehillim are not just there to be said when we're in trouble. Yes, some of the Tehillim King David wrote, and the others who wrote Tehillim wrote when they were in trouble. But some of them were celebrating life. Some of them were celebrating the miracles of existence. And part of the way we celebrate is through saying Tehillim, through reading those Tehillim, reflecting on those Tehillim, finding joy in those Tehillim. And the other is reflection and introspection. Thinking a little bit. Did we deserve it? Were we truly, both as a nation and as individuals, on the kind of level that gives us a right to the miracles that we benefited from? And how do we self-improve so that we can become deserving of those miracles? That even if as a nation or as individuals we feel we weren't really deserving of those miracles to start off with, what can I do now to make it worthwhile? For Hashem, so to say, to say, well, it was worth saving this nation. Look what they've done with themselves. It was worth protecting so-and-so, because look what he or she has done with themselves. It's now the greatest opportunity of all is to make us worthy of what we've seen. That's the opportunity, and not to slip into forgetfulness and complacency. How do we make ourselves worthy of the sacrifices that our Kedoshim made, that all of those who died for us? How do we make sure that their death is not in vain? That their death, that their sacrifices were there to promote a new Am Yisrael, a new nation of Israel, both as individuals, because we can only take care of ourselves as individuals. Each one of us can take our own steps to make the Jewish nation greater than it was. How do we do that? And make the deaths and the sacrifices of our Kedoshim worthwhile? And this is really our choice of the moment. Our choice is, do we want to rise to the occasion, or do we want to sink back into where we were, into our old routines, into our old pettiness, into our old arguments and machlokot? Is that what we want to do? Or do we want to take our emunah to new levels? Our acts of chesed, the way we study Torah, not just how much we study Torah, but how we study Torah. Are we going to immerse ourselves in it, our thoughts, our minds, our hearts, and look at the world from inside the Torah, through the lens of the Torah and live our lives that way. Oh, we're just going to transactionally learn a little bit and go to a shir and do a daf. This is an opportunity for us to transform the way we learn Torah, the way we love our fellow Jews, the way we accept them, we show understanding to them, the way we reject Lashon Hara, both in the private domain and in the public domain. It's Parshat Korach, and we see the devastation of machloket, of divisiveness. There are forces in the world that are promoting divisiveness. There is a spiritual force in the world, a spiritual negative force in the world that promotes divisiveness, just as there can be a pandemic that attacks the world, and some people succumb to it, and some have the inner resistance to resist it. So it is. Machloket is a virus. There's a pandemic of machloket. The media are full of it. Politics is full of it. Society is full of it. Everything we read and we see has taints of it. And our choice is to make ourselves immune to that and rise above it, or to allow ourselves to be drawn into the machloket the way the people who supported Korach were drawn into their machloket. And of course his machloket was presented as pious and as worthy and as true and as right. And so it is, those who promote machloket today don't dress up in the garb of machloket makers, of divisive people. They dress up in the garb of good people who are trying to promote prosperity, who are trying to promote equality and righteousness in the world. And in the process, machloket takes place. We see it in the people who drive, the forces who are driving a wedge between the Jewish people and the nations of the world. We see it between those who are trying to drive a wedge between the Jewish people and the nation of Israel and our Arab neighbors. We see it in the people who are trying to drive a wedge within the Jewish people itself. And we see it in those who are trying to drive a wedge even among the religious Jewish people of the nation of Israel. And this is our opportunity to rise above that. It's interesting that in this parsha, not only do we have the story of Korach, but we also have God setting the Leviim aside. Matana netunim laHashem la'avodet avodat oil moed. This is a gift that the Jewish people have made to Hashem, of a group of people who devote themselves entirely to the service of God. And we need to understand that we need and value every part of Jewish society and every part of Israeli society. We need the army that fights. We need the people who support the army that fights. We need the business people who drive the economy, innovate, develop, and pay the taxes that support the nation of Israel. We need each one of them, whether that we agree with them politically or religiously or not, is irrelevant. We need them. We need the people who put physical effort into the Jewish people and into the nation of Israel. We need the government and the members of government of Israel. We need everybody, those who do chesed. We need the mothers who take care of our children. We need the teachers who teach our children. We need the nurses and doctors who cure us and help and heal us. We need everybody. And we need the people who've dedicated their lives to the study of Torah. And I'm not talking about a social group, whether we're talking about Haredi or Dati Lumi. That's not what's important. But what's important is that there is always a group of people among us who are 100% dedicated and spend all of their time studying the Torah and practicing the Torah and teaching the Torah. Those people also need to respect and accept and value all the other parts of Jewish society. But the other parts of Jewish society need to value and respect the fact that we need to have talmidei chachamim. We need to have people who are learning Torah. We need those who are doing nothing but learn Torah. We need those who are integrating magnificently the study of Torah with the support of the country, those who are fighting in the army and learning Torah, those unbelievable heroes, those role models. We need each one of them. We need all of these different facets, and we need to show respect and admiration of one to the other. This is our chance to really give meaning to the lives that were lost and to the peace that Be'ezrat Hashem has been gained so miraculously. to give meaning to those miracles, to give validity to those miracles, to give a sense of deserving for those miracles. That not only will we be grateful to Hashem for what He's done to us, but Hashem will also look at us and say, Mi ki amcha Yisrael. Who is there in the world like your nation, O Israel? Not only for the wonderful things that this nation has done in the last 21 months, but for the wonderful way in which they have responded to the miracles you, God, have done for us. Let us be sure to respond in a way that makes Hashem proud of us, that makes us proud of ourselves, and most important of all, that makes us proud of each other, of one another, in a way that expands the kavod of Am Yisrael.